just a few shades of the Olafmeister that we've been waiting to see return to the fold here at ESL One New York. We haven't quite seen it yet. We saw some moments from him in the first map, but overall it was a very disappointing affair from Fnatic, but a chance to recover here and a chance to improve. We're going to be on to train in just a moment with the knife. And I think something we both really enjoyed about Fnatic's CT side of this map especially is over on the A side, they won't hold passive positions. Well, they didn't hold passive positions up against Na'Vi. You see players like Wenton, even Twist push forward up towards E-Box, ready to deny any sort of step towards that A side in general. So this should be an interesting match, and we'll see if Fnatic have made any tweaks to their sort of rollout on this map. Because if that last game was anything to go by, it was online, yes, but it was a very, very good sign. On OpTic side, the train is a go-to map for them. They go for it all the time, and I have to see if it works out. Of course, a slightly tweaked lineup in and of themselves now with Taric and Stanislaw, but let's jump in here to the knife.
I think that we have to really look out for here is how Twist is going to approach Ivy part of the map. When we saw them play online, he was very aggressive there, stunting Na'Vi's progression on that section of the map. So interesting to see if he goes with that similar play. And it looked like OpTic, when they were playing just before with SK, they were trying to make a lot of mid-round decisions. They weren't getting into things too quickly. So their T side will be something to look out for, see what pace they go with here.
I remember thinking back, they played Hellraisers on Train, actually, the qualifier for the major. I mean, a little bit of a different lineup, but they kind of suffered the same problems, Chad, as you just referred to there, that they slowed the play down so much and tried to, be a little bit more dynamic and allow themselves to read the flow of the game and actually make decisions of it. The problem is that sometimes they overestimated how much information they actually had or what their capacity actually was based off the back of that. So, personally, a aggressive OpTic that can sort of overwhelm Fnatic on that CT side a little bit more would be nice to see. Sides are going to be as such, so Fnatic more than happy to stay as CTs by the look of things here, unless it's going to be a late change. So, I mean, yeah, all eyes on OpTic here and their CT side, on their T side, should I say, to see if they've got the killer edge here to really shake Fnatic off their perch.
Yeah, I think Mixwell was also underwhelming for OpTic earlier. He wasn't getting many AWP frags. He was basically a non-issue for SK. So if he can step up and find some form, OpTic will be looking good. That performance that Naf had, you're not going to get one of them out of him again. He's not a star player in this team, but he was able to put up a star player performance last game. Someone else is going to have to fill that slack this game, I think.
Hopefully there won't be too much of a gap there to be recovered. That's kind of the main thing here as well. Naf was good to watch though, definitely. I mean, almost reminiscent of sort of Elijah's performance in those first few rounds. I mean, had himself good 14 kills after maybe 6 or 7 rounds. So it's a good sign and also not a great sign when he's the only guy that's actually achieving that level of success on the battlefield. You really want people to be stepping up. It's such a big theme actually over this event. You've got teams like G2, teams like Fnatic, even teams like OpTic to that degree that have those big players that are tried and tested who are expected to perform. And then, of course, you've got, their supporting players and also some newer players to the fold who we don't really know what to expect from them yet. All over the board, we see this with all our teams. Even I can say Astralis, Na'Vi to a huge degree. A lot of the focus at this event will come down to individuals and their ability to either exceed themselves or at least just perform at a good enough level, not to be dragging the chain.
Whichever team loses this match will find themselves one loss away from being knocked out. So a lot on the line here. You don't want to lose two lives, so to speak, this early.
Feels like games come all over again, Chad.
Yeah, but less game showy.
Oh dear, I remember that. The stage was up so high as well. I remember you guys up on a huge scaffold there. But no, there's no lives here, guys. As we don't get to decide who plays who. That's randomized. Trust me on that one. But we're going to be heading into the pistol now as well. Fnatic on the CT side. OpTic will be on the T side to begin with. And it will be enough to buy up the utility here, at least a little bit of that. Double flash and a smoke. Enough to maybe, make something work over at B if that's going to be the call. But early on, they're putting a couple of players down towards Ivy. They'll send Stan and rush towards B.
Yeah, just going for a classic spread across the map right now, trying to find out if Fnatic want to do anything aggressive, and they're playing a pretty passive setup at this point. Lekro just spotting for information low, now he's dropped back, and once you have Brown Walls control, Ivy control, you keep the CTs guessing, but Dennis and Twist over towards Ivy are pushing out. They're going to grab all this information and call the rotation, I think.
That's big. I mean, Dennis, he won't spot Taric, I don't think, either, because he can sort of get back over towards Brown Halls without being seen, but Mixwell to the same degree. So, yeah, he sees Ivy's clear, and then Dennis is going to be able to push up with this. He's going to be able to check in towards Connector and see that there's no one waiting there as well. That's the peak. And now, surely the call has to come out to Fnatic. And yeah, look, you can see them pushing across now. Twist coming in through CT. Wenton will join via connector. So this has been completely read by OpTic. A little bit too slow here on the pistol round, but let's see if they can hold out when it comes down to the execute. Flash up in the way. Wenton back towards the trains here. And now Mixwell Tarek going to push straight across. But you see Olaf starting off quite nicely here. Lekro kills his teammate. Not ideal, but still Fnatic under control for the most part. Tarek getting up close and personal. Or Twist, though, taking his head off with the Glock. It's a good start. And there's Rush getting involved. Now it's a 2v2. Lekro under towards Tarek and Rush on his own. He will fall. And Fnatic will secure the pistol here. 2 for Lekro, 2 for Olaf.
Yeah, Lekro redeemed himself after that TK. Everything got a bit chaotic on that inner site. OpTic had the right idea. When you go inside, you need to push up and close down the distance, but you want to do it with as many members as possible. You maybe have one guy caretaking the bomb planner, and then you just push up. You shouldn't even really worry about the flank too much on pistol round, because if you can get up in their face and negate the majority of the push, that guy coming behind, he's a non-issue once you have the numbers.
I mean, we did see an attempt at that as well. We did see Tarek trying to gain a lot of ground there. It was one smoke there available for NAF, so you know where it's going to go. It's going to go towards a connector to try and screen off as much as you can. But the rest of your progress as a T side, pushing into CTs that are up on top of trains and stuff like that, can be a little bit difficult. Smoke going to go down here for Twist, and he's going to be just waiting on the other side of it here with the MP9. A reasonable amount of smoke's coming out here very early on in the round. Now, Twist opens up. He finds Stanislaw early. Let me push through that smoke for more information. Probably not at this stage, but now OpTic have to descend on this A side quickly. They will attempt.
Yeah, they're going to get towards the bomb train. Mixwell will pick up a frag, but they should just be dealt with here. As the CTs, they're well positioned, better guns, and they'll just take them out one at a time. Losing 2 frags, though, that's not a bad eco from the OpTic side. Obviously, the plant was the goal in that situation, but the setup from Fnatic was good enough to deal with it.
The Stanislaw pushing in towards, I think he pushed Smoke in Ivy there as well. So very intent on trying to at least try and get some control of that map. I mean, yeah, if you can sneak through, you're laughing. But Fnatic more than happy to leave a player back to deal with that. Twisted, no problems at all. So now, a little bit more of an upgrade here for some of those guns on Fnatic. See, Twist goes to an M4, but OpTic in this third round actually going to buy into this one here. Not a heck of a lot to work with, not much trimming, to say the least. But Mixwell already taken rather full position. This is the position I've talked about for Fnatic. Wenton will deny push on towards the side, but he gets taken down. Stanislaw finds him with the Galil, but he's already lost so many teammates. Now he's got a lot of work to do. Dennis, though, lurking through behind. He sees the bomb, and then he sees Stan, and he's an easy pick up there to find Mixwell on the top of the train.
Just an easy 3K from Olaf there, making it look like just another day of the week.
We didn't see much of it either. He sat way back behind the A bomb side as well. He was just shooting at the guys coming out of Pop Dog, and they all got smashed.
The thing right there, what we've seen is they were ready for that buy. They knew it was coming in. They got the plan, and they didn't have head armor on the second round. So that upgrade by Fnatic, it was good. Nobody was holding on to guns that they shouldn't have. And Lekro was playing inside with the UMP. So they had it all set up properly, and they're not messing around. They're not giving OpTic any chances into this game.
Smoke to pop. Olafmeister taking up his position as per earlier on. Obviously with OpTic, with a bit of a, I call it a force, didn't have a lot of utility. So in that previous round, they did try and go for it and get very little for it as a result. Just the smoke now available to them. It's not a lot to be working with. And Rush and Stanislaw are pushing towards Brown Halls. Lekro's got a very forward position here on B. He's the only player, so he wants that information, maybe even an early kill to start things off. He does spot 2 players. The call comes out. Olaf is going to rotate over there fairly quickly here. And they're going to be able to set up to receive these push. But it's not necessarily OpTic giving away the whole game, but Fnatic are trying to trace their movements and mirror them across the map.
Yeah, so you see, as soon as Stan was spotted, it pulled a rotator, and now they can play that rotation and try and isolate the outside yard, and that way they're not fighting against 4, they're only fighting against 3. So this is something that you'll probably notice more so on the gun rounds. It's not as important here on the eco, but another point to make is that OpTic are waiting out the utility right now, Fnatic, which means they have to reinvest in that in the next round. So keeping their economy, as low as possible without getting any kills.
Keeping it expensive. Looks like they're going to make the move, though, there as well. That's that only smoke. The one lonely smoke thrown out by OpTic here. Actually, it's going to go... It cuts Twist off, but that's not really an issue. He's busy watching Ivy at the moment. It went to the back right of the site, looking from Dennis. So now the spray down's going to come in. The push over towards the side. It opens up. Well, Tarek gets the first off. Get things started. Even Wenton can't hold up against the push, but Lekro comes in. It's a quick triple for the man. He completely dashes OpTic by the wayside, and another one there for Lekro. An ace for the man in that round. Beautiful stuff. Well, OpTic not able to get too much headway there. Just the 1 kill on Wenton, I believe it was, to start things off. And that's it.
Good way to pad your stats right there. Everyone loves the eco frags. Gets your confidence going, especially
for some players. We talked about this. For some players, it actually is mentally quite important. Your simples and your hot and cold players and the like, that can be huge. And we could put Lekro in that division. Happily, I'll lump him there for now.
Yeah, people thrive off of getting early frags, pistols, and eco kills, and that sets them up for the game. But you know, you hope to try and move that out of your mindset as much as possible. You see this little move right now by OpTic. I would call this like an opening move. The idea behind those smokes is to force out utility by Fnatic and give them potentially a little bit of ground to work with. You can use this later on to actually commit through, and you can see how they're able to walk out behind those smokes down, set up in the yard to frag out.
Tarek's forced olofmeister up the ladder there. Hasn't quite seen him yet, though, and this is quite advanced positioning now. He's a long way forward, trying to get up in the face here. It's a great spot. If you can sneak up that little left alley, you can do a lot of damage, and already he has done so. Wenton's going to fall. It's the headshot that rings true. olofmeister a lot on his plate, and Tarek gets him too. 2 kills already for OpTic Gaming now. They're taking control of the A side in drips and drabs, but Twist is there to try and slow things up. Tarek, the man aforementioned, with the 2 kills, is going to fall. And Electro trying to keep himself scarce for the most part, but is spotted out by Mixwell, forced to turn around for the kill, and now Fnatic bring this arm wrestle back under their control. There was a pick from Twist there in the mix. Dennis got 1, and Electro with yet a second for this round.
3v5, big turnaround there by Fnatic. Twist with the AWP, staying strong and just holding down that section of the map. That opening move, the first time I think I'd ever had to verse that was against Cloud9, and Freakazoid would always lurk out behind it, grab a flash from his teammates and be able to entry through it. And OpTic are using it in a similar sense, but they were using it with more numbers. When you do moves like that, you can start to set a precedent, and if you win a round, then the other team has to adjust. Unfortunately, Fnatic, you know, they were able to hold on, so they can continue holding the same way.
So OpTic now with that round loss bonus burgeoning, this is a pretty common move you sort of start to see after that point. Tech9's come in with a bit of utility, so, and this is okay. When you can close the gap up against these rifles and get up close and personal with the Tech9, you can make headway in a round. Dennis, though, up in heaven, he spotted a few of the heads coming past, but this is quite strange. OpTic have actually switched over to PopDog and might make a move on B. A quick one at that here. It's going to have to be Lekko responding incredibly fast. Now back in behind the bomb train and getting ready to receive. He sees a player jump across in a second. Don't know if he spotted that one. He needs to spray this one out, and he does well. Gets his second. The taps come through and even Rush now getting himself just the 1 kill. Naf as well getting involved, but it's a 1v3. The Tech9s have only gotten OpTic so far, and they couldn't even get themselves a plant.
They would have had that plan on the outside section of the map there because they had pretty much the full front of bomb train control. There was somebody up heaven, I believe, but
there's Dennis.
Yeah, they still should have been able to plant. So, bit of an interesting decision to rotate towards inside. Lekro stood strong and picked up a good couple of frags.
It's interesting. I mean, the fact is that OpTic, well, you saw 4 people going to PopDog. Any of your Fnatic players, especially Dennis up on high, could see that. So enough time for olofmeister to make the quick rotation in towards Connector. And then Tech9s with not enough utility behind them really was enough really for Lekro to deal with. Again, he's got some aggressive positioning now in towards Brown Halls. I like that Lekro will vary his pace and vary his setup here a little bit. Stan, okay, well, past him there, Smoke happens to have the best, I guess, and then the AWP shot coming in here from Twist. And this is a gun round for OpTic Gaming that is being absolutely decimated so far. Nothing's happening towards Ivy. OpTic have had no luck in there this far in the match, and they're going to try and test him again. Twist is up to the challenge. He picks Naf fly off, and now Tarek was just starting to inch his way down Ivy to a help, has said, stuff this, I'm out.
Yeah, Twist is actually a very proactive holder of that Ivy section of the map. You've seen in the past with some players, they like to, like RPK for example, he'll spot it. Once he gets a little bit of harassment, he likes to drop back and play it quite passively. Same with Shroud, they use their teammates to hold it. But Twist, he will use his smoke aggressively, make them waste utility. He'll play at them, he'll play close behind the smokes. He will harass the Ts because that's such an important part of the map. If you can force the CT away from that part of the map, he doesn't have any information and he needs to call for backup to cover one side. I would have probably called a pause right now if I was OpTic because they look like they're in all sorts. They're getting picked apart one at a time, not able to trade frag. They might need to think of a new way to approach this.
And we talked about setting precedents before as well. Twist has set one. OpTic are thinking that Ivy's not really going to be a high percentage opportunity for them now. They've had no luck so far, and it's because Twist will mix it up. The same can be said of Lekro. I mean, playing Ivy's not all that fun. You know, sometimes it's quite difficult on both sides here. But the execute now coming in towards his A side now. Dennis still on the bomb train, so it's going to be a flash lobbed in front of him, a little bit of a jump up to see if he can get any more information, but Twist has responded to this. He's getting shots back in there from the tunnels. Nafly, though, takes a duel against Wenton up close and personal, and Dennis has to respond. He emulates this by finding Naf as he tries to climb to the top of the train, but the bomb is down now. After plant positions for OpTic aren't terrible. It's a 3v3 situation now with Stanislaw getting that extra kill and Rush getting involved as well. No one from Fnatic can get to this bomb really without being spotted. That's the way the smokes are clearing, and Tarek now hoping for a peek. Lekro smokes up in behind him, and Tarek's ready though. He gets the spray down. It's going to be Twist. Last man standing, and OpTic finally get themselves around. You said they were looking like all sorts. But amongst the chaos, they managed to put together a round win.
Yeah, they noticed that when they did the smoke strat outside across the bomb train with Tech 9s, they were able to take a lot of map control. They went for it then on a gun round, and it worked out. Picking up that kill on Wenton, even though Naf got traded straight away by Dennis, I believe it was, it still left a hole in that CT defense that they have to worry about. Yeah. So, you know, this is the chance right now for OpTic to string a few rounds together or get reset. And Mixwell, 1 kill. He's meant to be the star of this team. And Train is a map where the AWP is meant to be pretty instrumental, and he seems to be struggling. Hopes
were higher when they brought him across from G-Bots, but this has not been a good event for him so far. Double AWP play coming in to effect here. It's going to be Olaf picking up the second AWP. If you watched his little reel before the game, you know that this man is incredibly proficient with the weapon. You should know anyway. Dennis getting aggressive though, pushing in. Tarek, they're holding the correct angle. There was a player off towards the side. Mixwell, his life is saved there by Tarek, just pushing forward. So a dash of aggression here from Fnatic on the CT side, which is not terrible. I can accept that. Doesn't quite pay off there as OpTic play it safe.
Yeah, they tried to adjust so that if their outside execute came over, they're in front of the smokes, but they're getting punished for it now and getting mopped up one at a time as now finishes off Wenton. Mixwell with a nice little jump across shot onto Lekra on Twist in a 1v5.
Mixwell, you can see his feet. He actually takes the foot shot there as well. Interesting. A Molotov just to force him out of position. Mixwell so far unperturbed by that use of utility. So, oh, hello, Mixwell. Not sure if he wasn't ready for that or what, but he eventually succumbs to the flames as they lick at his flesh. Still, Twist is going to have to back away to this AWP and hold on to it here. As Fnatic dug fairly deep into their pockets for that round, and the double AWP investment is one that can be punished if you do shut them down. And Twist at 10-2 has had an excellent game so far, but we'll just have to take a back seat for these next few moments.
Yeah, Twist will be able to drop one going into the next round if they want to buy. Wenton can buy himself. Lekra is bankrupt. He's sitting there. His money's in the bin, and so is Olaf. So if those guys can scrape up any guns, they'll probably buy. I think they'll buy into next round. You know, they want to get the most out of this AWP, and they can probably get a decent enough.
You reckon?
A decent enough round, I think. They're taking a pause. Is this?
It's a tack pause by Fnatic.
It is a tactical pause. So they're discussing if they want to go for the buy or not here.
And I like this though as well. Yeah, I mean, you also need to decide how that money is going to be distributed. Sometimes the freeze time before the round is not enough to decide, okay, you know, you need to get these flashes. I need at least 3 smokes on this side or anything like that. So that's good by Fnatic as well. You can see they're taking it fairly seriously. Some teams don't really opt to go for this kind of pause when they're ahead even. Sometimes it's only an option they consider viable when they're losing, and that's not really the right way to look at it here. So I enjoy this.
Yeah, I think it's very important now to be, with this new pausing rule, to be more strategical with your pauses. You could take 2 pauses a half for 30 seconds. Say you're, I don't know, 6 or 7 rounds in, take a pause, and then towards the end of the half, if you're struggling, take another one. Yep. It's a great way to break up the other team's momentum. If you are losing, it's also, you can sit there and reflect on what's going on, grab a couple of words from the coach, see if he's noticed any tendencies or, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Any sticking points?
Yeah, that'll work. I can't think of it. It's all good. But yeah, I think you need to be more strategical with your pauses now that you have 4 up the sleeve.
There's definitely plenty to work with here. And Mixwell, I mean, it's only on 2 frags. I mean, Wenton is the same though as well. And I mean, you know, 2 frags is 2 frags whether you're winning and losing sometimes. But the context can be a little bit different now. So Fnatic don't really buy around this AWP. Look at this. Wenton gets aggressive though. The 5-7 finds Mixwell pretty quickly. He's going to run straight at Tarek. He eventually gets on him, and that's an AK going over to the man. It's a 3v2 now. There's an AWP and an AK in play for Fnatic. They've got what they need, but they've lost the AWP there. Twist gets gunned down by Naf. Sneaks his way in through Ivy. This is a big performance from this man. Now the 1v2. Wenton has to hold on. Takes a lot of damage there as well from Rush and needs to readjust. He gets Nafly, which is 4 health. And now the 1v1. He gets the spray down, and Wenton comes to the rescue of Fnatic. They start off the round well, start to lose control, and Wenton brings them back into line.
That was so scary quick. That all just unfolded just before you could blink. And Wenton at the end there, 4 HP, manages to clutch a 1v2. That's nuts.
Sick.
That's a huge round for him. We were just saying he was struggling on the scoreboard, and what was that, 4 frags?
Yeah.
That's a huge
4 frags.
That's a huge round from Wenton, the weird hat wearer.
I like his hat. I think that Fnatic should start producing those Fnatic branded hats for Wenton. I'd buy one. I really would. Anyway, starting from him, I mean, Nafly almost just took Fnatic apart at the seams there as well, just as they were getting ahead. So Lekra does this every round. You see that. He just take the peek and just the Molotov. He doesn't want to go too deep really for the information. Once so far he's gone into brown halls and managed to pick off Stan, but generally speaking he will sit back. Fnatic playing this one carefully, ponderously.
They're going to pounce on this inside with an execute. They've got enough utility to set something up here. Interesting to go if they do a nip style execute where they Molotov basically all along the back of that bomb train area, or if they try something with more smoke orientated.
We'll see just how much they're going to get rid of in a moment. They are just waiting at the moment. OpTic just to set up here. You can see the call comes in. So here comes the execute. Smokes in, flashes heavy. Lecroy isn't affected by any of those flashes though, except that last one. He goes up the bomb, Trainer's forced right back down. Molotov right behind him now, challenges out rush. He finds him, but there's smoke in the way. He can't even see Nafly head over towards the side. And this is very, very quickly. Fnatic trying to rotate, but Lecroy, balls of steel, pushes forward, gets his second, and Olaf helps him finish off Stanislaw. This is going heavily in Fnatic's favor. They shut this one down. A comfortable retake here for the Swedish side. And OpTic, all the time they went putting into that setup, doesn't pay off. The Tech-9's just not quite enough.
Yeah, just a note with that inside hold by Lecro there. The inside player, when he's the solo guy, I know he had help from Olaf, but once the smokes came down, he couldn't see low ramp. And the best thing for an inside player to do is try and stay alive for as long as possible, weasel around and get as many chip kills as they can. When your teammates rotate in, they're the ones that need to deal with the aggression from the Ts who are pushed past you. It's too hard for you to cover all the lanes as an inside player.
So you don't agree with that aggressive push-up?
No, that was good. That's exactly what he had to do. What I'm saying is the reason for, he could have just sat there and watched the low ramp smoke, but he needs to stay alive for as long as possible. His teammates will rotate in and deal with anybody else.
Well, another push here coming on towards the ace side now. It's down from PopDog, and OpTic are flying. Only get the one kill so far, and Twist is at his leisure just to pick them off one at a time. He's got himself 2 already. Now it's Mixwell and Russian. Well, that was a very short-lived there. No doubt about it. 10-2 here. And OpTic cannot get running on these gun rounds. They went for, obviously, the Tech-9 force and then a pistol following, so you can, accept that those 2 rounds are going to be given up. But now they come back in with a gun round.
Fnatic are cruising right now. 10-2 up.
No warp for Mixwell here.
They haven't really had an economy to get him an AWP, and, he's not fragging well enough to really warrant saving for it. At the same time, if you don't give your AWPer a chance, then he can't do anything flashy for you. He can't open up the rounds, but looks like they're going for that opening move again.
Oh, okay, an extra man stack. That's the way you distract. Twist was maybe a little bit too far forward. He could be caught out here. He gets around a corner. Olaf comes to his rescue, and he gets Twist right out of trouble. Nicely done there. The double stack from Fnatic towards Ivy. He's shut OpTic down, and now Mixwell, he's got a lot of work to do. He nades himself. He knows he's done. He drops it down his pants and said, I'll see you next round, boys. Another quick fire round coming up for Fnatic. And that's a pause for OpTic, no doubt about it. Now they need to be thinking, but this is many rounds too late if what you said earlier was true.
Yeah, so they'll probably try and adapt and go back to doing the outsmokes. Maybe they'll fake it or try something a bit tricky with it. But the issue is Fnatic are so on top now, they can do whatever they want. They can go for brown walls control. They're not really afraid. And when you're in the driver's seat like this on the CT side, you can change your setup. You can try so many different things that are going to catch the Ts off guard because they are playing catch-up. They need to make the decision around your holds. And if they can't work it out, you're just going to slam them every time.
No doubt about it. Fnatic. Excellent little adjustment there as well. The extra player at Ivy was, if you just watch Twist's perspective as well, you might think he was overextended, but it was all a ruse, a clever plan laid in place for Fnatic to catch OpTic off. 2 rounds for the game, OpTic, and they've come not at a great time. Enough just to sort of reset their round loss bonus, as it were, and put them back under the thumb. The unpause is going to be coming out here, and OpTic have opted again to go for a bit of a pistol force here. Now,
they have the smokes for that outside execute.
4 smokes. I think if you see any less than, if you see only 2 smokes, you sort of start to think B, but this is sufficient for A.
So it'd be interesting right now if Fnatic choose to play in front of where the smokes land or not. The last couple of rounds, Dennis has been very aggressive with Wenton, and it looks like they're setting up to push up as he goes towards Sandwich. So they are setting up for those. Oh, it's something a bit different. They're all in team mid. They've used smokes early, so this could be a double pump on the yard right now. So those smokes are baiting out utility. It's forcing the CTs in different positions. Here comes the second bunch of smokes. They're going to try and push through that 5 lane.
Oh, Dennis is ready for this. He's seen the 2 players go past. He must have communicated this, and now he can go back. He can now clean that off. It's a loose end just being snipped off, and Dennis not able to get the spray, having to go for the deagle here. Not quite able to catch out that last player, but it's just Stanislaw on his own. At this stage, you can almost just put him in a box, poke some holes in the top, and put some leaves in and just leave him alive. But honestly, that push from OpTic has given themselves 4 kills here. Twist now is in the 1v1. Stanislaw, gets himself a rifle eventually. That was the goal here. And now the plant comes in, so Twist will need to respond to this.
Yeah, Twist has no idea where Stan is. If he just chills out, holds. Oh, we spotted him right now. So this is good. Stan's got a lot of information.
Twist doesn't know, or he may not know where Stan is right now. He takes the jump. He takes a bit of damage, but he gets the information as a result. Now he's going to play up close here as well. Gets the pistol in. Twist turns it right around, and he's got to get himself the defuse. Stanislaw had his opportunities in this round. He even picked himself up an M4. But no, Fnatic again shut the door right in OpTic's face. It's almost getting heartbreaking by this point. And now, last round of the half, Chad, is going to be the AWP board up finally for Mixwell, who's only managed to get himself 5 kills for the half.
Yes, he's been really quiet. So Stan in this game. So Fnatic in full control, as we've said. But The adjustments are going to come in way too late for OpTic. They got shut down with their early move out T mid earlier in the game and tried a few bits and pieces, but have been on eco for quite a portion of this match.
I mean, it's been Tech-9 Force, then pistol save, then attempt at gun, and then back to the Tech-9 Force, and so on and so forth. A lot of pressure here going over towards T1 as a connector is being heavily Molotoved. If that's an adjective, I'm going to take it. It's Dennis again in the aggressive position. Note that Wenton's at E-box now, so this is like a Fnatic, you know, buck stops with me kind of hold. They're not going to allow any easy access towards this A site. Bit of utility being expended earlier on here. At this stage, there's still a couple smokes available to Fnatic, and the Molotovs are there. OpTic wants to try and draw out a little bit more in these next few moments while getting information. Stan sees very little in his peek out of PopDog. And it looks like 3 players, are going to back over towards the direction of B here, although Naf and Tarek might lay smokes on A to try and keep those players in place for a bit longer. Maybe even, you know, go for a push out of PopDog after they come down.
It's really slowed down right now. They want to wait out the utility, but Lekro, Wenton, and Olaf have all held onto their Molotovs right now. So any push that comes in can be quickly stopped by the Fnatic guys.
37 seconds, and now the execute comes in, or is it an execute? No, looks like a bit of a fake here. So it's going to be Tarek and Nafly quickly trying to rejoin the rest of their team, and Lekro and Olafmeister, there's a flash and there's a smoke on towards B, so they need to be prepared for this. Tarek will remain at A to try and keep players there. In the meantime, the rest of OpTic are going to go for it. Olaf, thinking about rotating out here. He might need to stay. It's going to be Stanislaw to take down Lekro, but the kills, the trades are so heavily in Fnatic's favor here. But Mixwell chimes back in. That AWP now starting to come into its own. There is more to be done, though. Mixwell is flash. He misses. Twist finds him as he ascends to the top of the train, and now it's just Stan on his own. OpTic had a plan. They waited the time, and the execution fell to pieces still.
Be a miracle clutch by Stan here.
He's just seen Twist on the top of the train here. I don't know if he knows if Wenton is as close as he is. Time ticking down. He's going to go for the pick. Oh, the one shot on towards Wenton. Going to get a second? Not quite. It could have been the fairy tale. It could have been just what OpTic needed to give themselves a fighting chance in the second half. But it's not to be. Twist again with the clutch out. The pistol coming to the fore. And Stanislaw going to the floor. It's 13-2 here at half-time. And that is a rough story for OpTic.
I don't know if that was a pre-shot or not by Stan there, but that's a nice little one-tap onto Wenton. That's the Twist I was hoping for in the first map. You know, he seems like he's woken up now. He's had his little warm-up game. He's probably played a bit more deathmatch, but just this up-close setup from the guys in Fnatic. They did a lot of work. Dennis getting a lot of aggro picks. Lekro inside, he was a beast, you know, just being a rock, and that's what you need on your solo sites. And this round by Wenton here, this was a turning point, or could have been a turning point for OpTic. They could have strung quite a few rounds together, and Wenton grabs 4, wins a 1v2 on 4 HP. Just nuts.
And just got utter confidence to go for that shot there as well. The deadly headshot, of course, ringing true. And obviously, this is Lekro getting aggressive here as well. He's already pushed up. I mean, this is what you wanted to see. This said what you needed to see from Fnatic if there was going to be a quick execute on B and then Stan. Don't know how that happens. Got the head as well, but Twist comes back in with the pistol there as well. Really getting it done when it needs to happen. And now, if you're OpTic and you lose the pistol, you're game over. You're forever forcing. You're forcing for the entirety of the rest of the game if that pistol doesn't work out. And that is just a terrible situation to have to put yourself in, Chad.
Yeah, we saw Fnatic just play a very heavily team-based T-side when we've seen them play this map in the past. Like, they play together and they just trade out. Interesting to see if they bring the same approach here. I feel like they have quite a bit more individual skill than the guys on OpTic, so they might try and play a bit more default solo Counter-Strike. But as I say that, all of the members are making their way through white walls now, so they're going to be greeted by Mixwell.
Mixwell will be the information gatherer and the first shot taker if it comes to that. But slowly but surely, he gets dinked out early on. That's not good at all. Gets no damage. I mean, he gets information followed by a face full of bullets, so that's not too bad, but he's lingering a little bit too long here. 3 health, he wants to go for the challenge, but it's not going to work out, and how could it ever? Stan is going to be flashed away back behind the train, and Fnatic have control of the site. They don't require these smokes at this stage. They didn't really buy any. Just the raw hitting power here, and even some USPs recovered for them. But Stan, he's caught, trying to do a little bit of a jump across to the side, but no, Wenton eventually finds him. Naf can respond. But the bomb is down. He's got 2 players to deal with now, and you can expect Fnatic to make themselves scarce in this moment.
He's got a lot of work to do, and Dennis, the Pistol King, is still alive. He could find Twist, who's playing very passive, but he's going to burn a lot of bomb time right now. He's given up on that pursuit, and he's going to be looking for the other remaining player in sight.
I tell you what, that decoy is going to be so annoying for you if you're Naf as well. And then Dennis just takes his chance. You know he's going to hit those pistol shots, and this is a death knell ringing out for OpTic Gaming. The Fat Lady is warming up with a few bars, Chad. 14-2. And you're OpTic, you force pistols. You just do. You don't allow this to, you know, if you can help it, to go towards that 15-2 scoreline here. And I mean, if there's any round where they can maybe get some headway with these pistols, it's here. But Fnatic, they're not messing around. 3 rifles board up. They're going to have to scout, and then the MAC-10 here for Olofmeister.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision to force up here. It's so difficult to play for overtime. Once they have match point, it's almost impossible to come back from. They're going to stream out of Pop here. Greeted by Tarek and Stan, who take down a quick 3 frags. Wendy's going to turn around Stan as well.
It's big. Just Twist in a 1v4 situation. OpTic have turned this around. Just somehow, Twist not quite able to get the hit on towards Rush. A little bit of damage, but nothing to write home about. Oh my lord, the turnaround from OpTic has been sublime in this round, and they keep themselves afloat. They keep themselves alive. They get an AK, they get a scout, and it's starting to look a little bit better, but it's a long climb from here. Fnatic now, got to drink the Kool-Aid. They're going to behave themselves. They're going to have to go for, you know, some pistols. Okay, if you're confident, you know, you're going to buffer rounds. You buy in some, you know, pistols and a bit more utility and hope to do to OpTic what they just did to you.
Oh, Flamey's just joined the server.
G'day, Flamey.
You want to get out, mate? Or?
Not sure if he should be in here, mate. He's actually in the game as well.
This is a bit of a drama. Anyway, we'll ignore Flamey right now. We'll pretend he's not here. The thing is, when he leaves the server, won't he give $300 to a member of the Fnatic side?
I don't know. That is... oh, God. Flamey, what are you doing, mate?
Dude, you're a bit early. The game's not over yet.
Calm your tits. All right, well, yeah. Don't really know. He's AFK, so...
Yeah, but...
yeah, look, let's just go with it, man. I don't really know.
Someone give me Archon, I'll fix this situation right now.
The power-hungry man. Olofmeister falls to Naf there. Can't challenge him out quite as nicely as he would have, but now it's going to be the execute on towards the B side. A very fast play here. Lekro opens up nicely. It's a shot towards Stanislaw. Mixwell through to smoke, finds Lekro, though somehow he connects that shot. Although I wouldn't have known who was on the other side, he still gets it. Yeah, Dennis gets it 300. Not ideal, but there's Twist onto Nafly. And turning it around here, Fnatic doing exactly to OpTic what they did in the previous round. Now it's Rush to fall, and Fnatic get to match point. They do it their own way. They do it with just pistols, and that's going to be enough for them.
Jeez. I'm not going to say what I want to say. Anyway, I think that's all over right now for OpTic. They're done. They're cooked. Good game. Thanks for coming.
They still have one more chance. Well, I mean, I guess what, they go to 0-2 then. So yeah, they're facing elimination very early on in the piece. No one gets eliminated today though, so everyone gets to, I believe, play on the stadium. So I won't see that. So don't worry too much if you're an OpTic fan. They got a chance to sort of try and converge tonight and come up with something else, but this has not been great. So far, all the kills coming through so quickly. It's not T-Tors, it's just crazy CS. It's Nafly coming forward with a shot towards Lekro. Now the 3v2, he's not going to be able to do anything, and it's Stanislaw. The newest inclusion here for OpTic Gaming with nothing but a CZ, a hope and a dream, although a very dim one. Got to take a long angle with the CC. Might at least get Olofmeister before he's done. And oh, the dink comes in. That really makes life very, very hard. Gets himself an M4 and he's cut down. It's going to be Twist to do the final honors. And Fnatic have crushed OpTic Gaming. 16-3 on train. The exact scoreline we saw between Fnatic and Na'Vi. And if they can do it to a team like them, no surprises here to see them so powerful against one of the hopes from North America.
I bet they wish they didn't ban train earlier versus VP.
I don't know why they did that, really. I know VP are a trained team. Maybe they just don't want to take that particular risk. That might be the thing. I'm not sure. Don't know. Yeah, it's 2020 as it always is.
It's always good fun.
Fnatic moved to 1-1 here in this one, and OpTic, though, perhaps more grimly moved to 0-2 in the standings. And in Swiss, you do lose 3 games and you are out. They're the first team to go to that 0-2. And then early exit is looming above their heads very, very shortly.
Yeah, they'll have to play the loser of the next match, which I believe is G2 versus Liquid. So they'll play the loser of that game. That will probably be played tomorrow, though.
Yes,
no one gets, like I said, no one gets eliminated today. So everyone makes it to the stage.
A Liquid versus OpTic matchup for elimination would be far from what people would want to see if that was the case. I'm telling you what, you know, Liquid have to hope that they defy previous performances and can show up here against G2 very, very soon here as well. I don't know if we've got any highlights for you guys following that match. So what we will do is just wrap things up here in a bit of a bow and send it to a break. And when we return, we've got G2 versus Liquid.